original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weirdly.
But it's hard. And it's lonely. It's very lonely. I just know that if that loneliness can exist, so can other things, and I will be okay.
To a MAGA conservative movie. We're just trying to represent the values that Snow White is based in. The timeless values that we all loved growing up that are sadly...
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs holds a special place in the hearts of generations. But when Disney announced a live-action remake of this timeless tale, excitement quickly turned to controversy as fans were left shocked by some of the creative decisions. It looks like because of these decisions, fans are instead turning to the Daily Wire, who have decided to make their own accurate version of the original classic, which has allegedly made Rachel Zegler absolutely furious. Things started looking bleak for fans very early on in this process when the casting of Rachel Zegler as Snow White was announced. Fans were shocked to see that Disney was hiring a Latina actress to play the iconic Snow White. This decision sparked heated discussions, particularly among those who felt that the original story's German roots should have been preserved. While diversity in casting is often celebrated, some fans believe that this particular story, with its fairy tale origins deeply rooted in European folklore, should have remained more culturally authentic. But it wasn't just the casting that drew attention. Rachel herself stirred the waters when she decided to criticize the original 1937 movie. In interviews, Zegler openly criticized the classic Snow White, calling it creepy and stalkerish, especially referring to the relationship between Snow White and Prince Charming. She even hinted that the new film would disregard the traditional true love's kiss storyline, as she wanted it to shift toward a more feminist take.
She's going to be saved for the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true.
This twist was definitely met with mixed reactions, as fans felt like it was perhaps taking too much away from what made the original movie such a hit. One fan even made it as clear as possible, saying, "This is no longer Snow White, just a different movie using its name." Adding fuel to the fire, Disney made things worse when they announced that instead of the iconic Seven Dwarfs, the live-action version would feature magical creatures. For many, this change was a step too far. The Seven Dwarfs aren't just background characters, they are central to the charm of the original story. Fans took to social media to express their outrage, with some saying that removing the dwarfs was a clear example of Disney pandering to modern sensitivities. The backlash was so intense that Disney was forced to push back the film's release to bring the dwarfs back into the picture. However, as we all know, the new and improved dwarfs aren't necessarily what fans imagined either, as the full CGI looks have been heavily criticized by fans for their uncanny valley feel. Yet again, it felt like Disney was avoiding giving the roles to those who are most represented by them, as there are many actors with dwarfism out there who would have loved the opportunity to star in such a big production Disney movie. In response to the ongoing controversy, David Hand, a former Disney designer and son of one of the original directors of Snow White, didn't hold back in his criticism. He went as far as calling the new film insulting, both to his father's legacy and to Disney's original vision. David then criticized Disney for disrespecting its own history in favor of modernizing the story for today's audience. As he said, "They've lost touch with what made the original so special, but it was because of all this backlash that another studio felt inspired to create something that would truly capture the original Snow White spirit and feel." The Daily Wire, known more for its political commentary than its filmmaking, has announced that it is working on its own version of Snow White with the goal of staying true to the original story as a direct counter to Disney's approach. The Daily Wire's version promises to honor the traditional fairy tale without injecting modern politics into the storyline. Brett Cooper, who is set to star as Snow White in this new project, has made it clear that their version will be accurate to the original tale, but still very much engaging for today's audience with their own modern spin. This is why, when the Daily Wire's first teaser for the movie dropped, an overwhelming amount of people reacted with joy and positivity. The Daily Wire's version seems to have captured the magic of the original film, leaving fans eager for more, as people commented, saying, "If the contest boiled down to Brett Cooper versus Rachel Zegler, Brett Cooper wins hands down." Months ago, Brett said she would love to play Snow White. Now she's getting her chance. And we see how humble and grateful she is, unlike another actor. Because of all the positive reactions, some are even speculating that the Daily Wire's projects might end up outperforming Disney's version, which would be a massive Hollywood twist. However, it's already pretty obvious that audiences prefer studios to honor their blueprints. Seeing the difference in reactions to both trailers might send a very clear message to Hollywood if Brett's movie were to do better than Rachel's. Unlike Rachel, Brett emphasized that while the film will still be relevant to today's audiences, it won't lose sight of the original themes of love, bravery, and innocence that made Snow White such a beloved tale for generations. This careful balance is what fans are hoping for from any adaptation of a classic, and it's a challenge that Disney seems to be struggling with. Rachel hasn't made things easier for Disney either, with her many interviews where some fans have found her disrespectful. Many fans believe that some of Rachel's comments are a direct cause of why the movie might be doing badly. One fan even commented, "Rachel Zegler is single-handedly destroying this movie." This has led to more and more people demanding that Disney step back and reevaluate the situation, even calling for Rachel's removal from the project. Fans are eager to see which version of Snow White will ultimately win over audiences. Will Disney's modernized feminist reimagining find a new fan base, or will the Daily Wire's faithful retelling of the original fairy tale steal the spotlight? Ever since Disney released their own trailer for the movie, it's been made pretty clear that one is far better received by audiences. It's not just the actor's fault either, as fans still have major issues with the way the Disney movie looks visually. Nothing about this screams live action, green screen, and Shrek-level CGI. But at least Peter Dinklage got his wish to pull the step stool up behind him and make sure Seven Little People didn't get some of the most iconic roles in storytelling. The fans' criticism regarding the CGI is especially relevant since we've seen in the past that a Snow White movie is possible with real sets and effects, while still looking beautiful and magical. However, it seems that the attention isn't only on the movies themselves, but also on the stars behind them. While Brett Cooper's version of Snow White has been met with excitement and mostly positive reviews, Rachel Zegler, leading Disney's version, seems to be feeling the heat. It's obviously no secret that Brett's trailer has been better received, and rumors are swirling that Rachel isn't handling the competition very well. According to rumors, Rachel was reportedly furious about the new Snow White being made, especially after Brett publicly addressed her in several interviews. Brett didn't shy away from sharing her opinions on the controversies surrounding Rachel's portrayal of Snow White. In fact, she was quite vocal about how her version stays true to the original, while also modernizing in a way that doesn't offend audiences. Meanwhile, Rachel's version continues to face backlash, even after fans got the first glimpse into the movie. One source even claimed that Rachel allegedly said, "Mine was better," when reacting to Brett's film. Though Rachel hasn't directly addressed the situation publicly on social media or in interviews, perhaps to avoid giving them more publicity, the rumor has left many wondering whether Rachel is truly bothered by Brett's success. Whether or not the statement is true, it's clear that Disney would avoid acknowledging the Daily Wire's version at all costs. For Disney, drawing more attention to a rival adaptation would only fuel the competition, and with Brett's version already getting glowing feedback, that's a risk they really can't afford to take. Some fans believe that Rachel's frustrations with Brett's version may even stem from the way the two are being talked about in the media very differently. While Rachel has been criticized for her comments about the original film and the changes made to her character, Brett has gained admiration for her respectful approach to the classic story. Rachel has even had to plead with people online to stop sending her hate over her portrayal of Snow White, which many believe was a direct result of her own controversial statements. Rachel even got extremely emotional, near tears, as she shared how difficult the backlash has been for her.
It's hard. And it's lonely. It's very lonely. I just know that if that loneliness can exist, so can other things, and I will be okay.
On top of this, there have been calls to boycott Disney's Snow White due to Gal Gadot's involvement, particularly from those upset by her pro-Israel stance. This means that even if fans are cheering for Rachel and her involvement in the movie, many might still refuse to give Disney any money because of her co-star's involvement. In contrast, Brett Cooper's version of Snow White seems to be thriving without any such drama. With no controversies clouding her film, Brett is gaining favor with fans who appreciate her respectful yet modern take on the classic fairy tale. Fans are now left wondering if Disney has any chance of salvaging the movie, as all signs point to a total box office flop. Do you guys think the Daily Wire has a shot at overtaking Disney? Let me know down below, and don't forget to check out this other video for more.